Welcome to Made to Play, where someone is made to play a game. Today, my guest is Nick, and I'm going to make him play 1980X.
Yes, we're gonna do it.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
gonna be fun.
Hopefully, it better be fun. And I stopped you having a specific conversation a couple days ago so that we could have it here. Uh, and we'll get to that. But first, why I chose this game. And there has been a pattern of games that I've picked for this show to make other people play, of games that I think of as singular experiences, where you could play the game, beginning to end, and maybe you missed a little side thing here or there, or some sort of little collectible, but you can feel at the end like you've had the experience.
Like you did it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm into that. I'm
Uh,
into that.
so I've never been a fan of like the cost per hour of play or whatever, right? If the
Sure.
game
Yep.
is a 90-minute game and it didn't cost an exorbitant amount for a 90-minute game, but I enjoyed it, that's fine for me.
Yeah,
Um,
I think there's kind of a double standard with like movies too, right? Like you can spend a lot to go see a movie, and it's absolutely over in an hour and a half. And so the idea of paying twice as much as a movie and having it last for 3 hours for some reason outrages people. And I don't know. I feel like I could do that forever. You know?
yeah, and in fact, this game, I mean, I got it through a bundle, but I think you spent $10. Is that right?
Ten dineros. Yes.
Which means it's a 90-minute experience, and that's what this game is. I've spent 90 minutes playing this game, and I did finish it.
Okay.
And that's less than the cost of a movie ticket.
Sure. Yeah.
So
These days. Yeah.
So I think that's appropriate. So getting to that
And
thing,
one of my favorite titles is like Journey, which is like designed to be played and finished in a sitting.
oh yeah,
And I just also recently played wow, what is it called? Lone Sails or something like that. Where it's like a side scroller where you're just pretty much going right for you know 3 hours. It's very similar. That same kind of like gives you a feel, and then it's over, and then you're like, cool. It's somewhere like a book than a game.
yeah. So I'm not familiar with that. You'll have to hit me up with that. I'm gonna have to start doing
Sure.
show notes too, because the more
Show
episodes I
notes.
do with you, I think the more likely it is that I'm gonna have to add things to the notes underneath the show,
Mm, mm,
because you
mm.
and I tend to bring up other things more than the other guests. Although I can push them to do that as well.
That's
Um,
fair. That's fair.
yeah. So Journey, I love Journey as well. So
Oh
just
yeah,
had to
that's
throw
like
that in there.
I think I bought like a PS3 just to play Journey. There was like four games that I bought for that. It was like Journey, Flow, uh, I don't know, some of the other ones. They're all the weird demo games. Nothing that actually came on a disc, ironically. So
Flow was good too. I don't think I
yeah.
would say I finished Flow. Uh, I I actually had an emotional experience with Journey.
Oh yeah, it's so good.
Yeah,
The little
I'm not going to
chirps and
say
the
I cried, but I didn't not cry.
I won't say I cried about it, but I was emotional.
Yeah,
No, no, it was so good. Yeah, the whole thing was good. It was
yeah.
epic.
So
Cool.
I can't make you play that, obviously. Uh,
No,
so back to the thing that I made you
right.
stop talking about. What is your initial reaction when I tell you, Nick, I'm going to make you play 1980X?
Well, my initial reaction is that I know you, and I know you enough to know that you know what I like enough. So like I'm already like I'm cool with this game like preemptively, right? Because I I know what you like well enough to know that you probably aren't going to make me intentionally suffer. Which, by the way, is something I might make you do someday. But I don't think you're doing that to me. So I'm optimistic. But we did touch on this idea. This game is like called 1980X. Obviously, I'm born in 1980X. I appreciate all these things, and this aesthetic I like a lot. The pixel art obviously drives it home for me, but there's something about when a game like is so clearly like laser guided, targeted right at me that makes me want to not like it. That makes me resent it almost. You know what I mean? Like they're
Yeah.
expecting me to show up and buy it because like, hey, you like pixel art in 1980s? Like if there was like a Lamborghini Countach drives by, I'm just like, you know what? Now you're just, you know what I'm saying? Because like, of course I love Lamborghini Countach. It's the greatest car ever. but don't use it against me. You know what I mean? And so this aesthetic is, it might be too much for me, you know. But if it's supposed to like be meaningful, then like maybe it's not. I don't know. I don't know. You know. But my guard is up.
Right.
It's interesting because I think about other games like Shovel Knight, which is pixely and clearly an homage to this type of thing, and clearly like targeted towards me, or at least for me, you know, in a way. But it's not like so blatantly marketed to someone who is like probably 35 years old right now, or 40 years old, or whatever. That I feel like I'm the only person who's supposed to buy it. You know, it's still viable without being like, you know, a period piece. So I don't know.
Right.
We'll see.
Yeah. Let's go for it. Let's jump in.
Okay. All
Okay.
right. I'm gonna do the thing. Ooh, dig it. Okay. I'm just gonna keep pressing A, I guess.
Well, I'll be honest with you. If I remember correctly, this game has a lot of padding like
Got
that, where it fades slowly in and out of things,
it. Mm-hmm.
uh, which has come up in reviews.
Got it.
Uh, I don't mind it because, again, kind of like a movie, they're
Right.
creating an experience for you.
Right.
But I can understand, like, if you're a speedrunner, that would probably drive you crazy.
Right. Yeah. No, I don't think that games that you play once aren't designed to be speed run anyway. You know,
Yeah.
in my opinion. I'm getting a total Kung Fury vibe right now. Like, I was once bitten by a snake and struck by lightning at the same time. When I woke up, I had Kung Fu powers.
And that's no way to get kung fu powers.
Oh, well. Beating heart. Boom, boom. Credits. Press 1. All right. I guess I'm going to suffer through 4:3 ratio on my thing here. I hope
Yeah,
you
this-
can see better than I can.
Well, we've got the 4x3 as well. What's weird is, I say we, it looked like it was cutting something off,
Yeah.
but
it's
now
like
it doesn't.
It's like it doesn't know how to be 4:3, which is ironic for a game in the 80s. Everybody should have to play it 4:3. Well, look, I know how to punch people, so I guess we're going to...
Yeah,
Sorry, Andy.
it feels like maybe you've played a game like this one before.
I have raged in a street at least once.
And
And I like that the game is like, yes, it's the 80s because it's still okay to punch women. And she's not even particularly, like, normally there would, I guess she's wearing more.
yeah, I love that you didn't even think twice about punching that phone booth.
No,
You're-
that's,
like,
why
if I'm
else
going
would
to
that be there?
fight on the subway, I'm going to vandalize the subway.
Now, I've got punch and I've got jump. Is that it?
I think if you hit punch in the air, you'll do a kick.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Is there any,
Very-
like, Street Fightery moves?
Very
What are my
true
triggers?
button.
Nope. Okay, 2 buttons.
Yep.
Cool. I can... Oh, there we go. Oh yeah, that's pretty classic Streets of Rage. Like the one punch, instead of just rapid punch, and then you move in, and then that gets the grapple. Let's
Yeah.
see if that's there. Here we go. It's also very like, oh yeah, bat style. All right. Yep.
The
Oh no.
I just saw something about somebody
see.
talking about Double Dragon, and the intro being that it puts the woman in the position of needing to be saved,
Right.
and then the misunderstanding of why that's a problem.
Right.
Right.
We've come so far since 1980X.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
you're treating them
Yeah.
all equally, and that's important.
equal opportunity, knee to the gut deployer.
And I would say I'm not positive your character is a male.
That's true. Although I do have some aggression issues.
You did get off the subway and immediately start fighting people.
And I was like, you know what, phone booth? Hey,
You've broken every barrel you've had access to.
yeah, well, I don't want to leave any like potential broken bottle or pile of cash wrapped neatly from the bank behind.
Yeah.
I
I
see
think-
some sort of runes or graffiti type thing.
Yeah, I think the weirdest thing about these games is the style of game is the eating the hamburger off the ground,
Right. Yeah.
as if that's perfectly
Oh,
acceptable.
there we go. That's a double. That's right out of Double Dragon, right there.
Yeah.
Double Dragon 2, both buttons. Oh, what?
And it didn't use any of your life bar when you weren't hitting people. I don't know if it did when you did hit people with it.
Yeah.
but commonly there's a life tax for the
Start
clear the
scrolling.
area.
No, this is so far. This is pretty like unprofound, I would
Yes,
say.
it is.
And I'm trusting that it will become so profound.
I don't know
some
about
point.
so profound, but I definitely want you to give it
get
the
there.
time
Yeah,
because
I'll invest it. Nobody spent this much time just to do this, because this is not yet as good as even like Streets of Rage or something like that. Like, there's just not enough buttons.
yeah, I wouldn't have done
Continue?
90
Yeah,
minutes
don't wanna
of
continue.
just what you're seeing here.
Right. Yep. All right.
Because I do have access to things like Double Dragon Neon
Right. Which
and
I've
Mother
heard is
Russia
good.
Bleeds, which is a real game. You chuckle, and I just want to make sure you know I'm not making that one up.
Right. That sounds good. I do have a soft spot for the little like go arrow, like bing,
Yeah.
bing, bing.
Takes you
That's-
back to
That's
the Streets of
nostalgic,
Rage games as well as like the Dungeons and
Yeah.
Dragons in the arcade.
It's funny. I was just going through a old Nintendo Power, which is a thing that I do every now and then. Oh, there's Blue. What's up, Blue? Other color. Hold on, we'll get back to this later. It's like, gonna beat me up.
Well, there was the sounds of fighting. I
Yeah, but I
definitely
was
heard that.
thrashing on my controller, so it sounds like maybe he's beating me up. All right, fine. There's been a lot of development in the 80s. It's got this Akira thing going on now.
Yeah, I am gonna
Welcome
turn it
to
up just a
Suburbia.
smidge.
Mm.
Oh, now that's
Alright.
too loud.
Oh, that's like the pre-logo screen. It's so funny because this is kind of I guess in Steam you get to sell your game via the shop channel, because that, like, if you had to let people play it for 10 minutes and be like, what do you think? Like, that's a bold move to like basically be completely derivative for,
There I
5
was,
minutes.
Yeah.
All right.
up in my room, just like every other night, counting taillights on the highway.
Classic
Soon the cars
headphones.
below would reach the city. But me, I'd still be here, stuck in sleepy suburbia. Or so I thought. But sometimes extraordinary things will happen if you just let them.
I appreciate that they opened the window so the hair could blow.
I know that there are going to be people skipping past this stuff, and that's okay. But I sure hope that people stick around and appreciate that there's a story
Right.
that is also coming across, because that could be
Right.
what makes a person think I should check out that game and see how the rest of it goes.
I wonder how much of a game like this is spoiled by watching another playthrough of it,
Yeah, I mean, certainly if you played the whole game for this show and somebody watched that, they would not need to play the game themselves.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And I would like to avoid that because I do support these
Right.
style games.
That's such an interesting conversation, because, getting into streaming more and more. And I don't stream like game content, but it's like a whole conversation about like, people making more money than the developers just playing the game online sometimes,
Yeah,
for people who now no longer need to purchase the game,
yeah. And I do stream sometimes, as
Yeah.
well as you know, I make game videos like the one that you're watching and the
Right,
one
yeah.
that you, Nick, are playing right now.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Well, most people, but most developers are pretty pro stream,
Yeah,
It is in a lot of ways free advertising.
one of the games
But
I've streamed.
the closer your experience gets to a movie where it's like the closer, the less interactive it is, the more you're just basically just demoing it.
Just
Yeah.
outside the city. Sometime in 1980X.
Music is pretty
What you
rad.
see around here used to be all that I cared for.
I think you're right. My character is pretty
Because it was all that I knew.
non-binary, non-gendered.
It was
Go
here
either
that
way.
I'd met my first friends.
Yeah, even
rode
the
my first bike. Found
as
my
a
first
since it's a
love,
young person, even the
and found
voice
out
could be
that
said
nothing
Yep.
lasts forever.
to be either way.
This is the place
And
I grew
I mean,
up
I
in,
love me some good pixel art too.
Yep.
grew out of.
This is like the slow version of the Mike Tyson training scene. Just walking
The
instead.
place I loved.
Yeah. I know there are people who are going to see how much of this goes on in this game and just be completely turned
I
off
remember
of it.
walking around these
Right,
blocks
right.
for hours, just waiting for something to happen. I knew I needed to move forward.
Well, it seems,
Every day
it
felt
seems
like I
even
was on a
more.
road
It's
to
it's
nowhere.
interesting to me now because it's even more
Same
than
office
what
buildings and cheap restaurants.
what we talked about in the beginning. Like it is
grocery
clearly
store,
aimed at
the
me
laundromat,
as like an '80s like nostalgia piece,
the
but not in
video
the way that I
rental place
expected. Now it's
where
more
Dad
like a
used to take
story
me
for
on the
someone
weekends.
who is my
be
age,
looking for
or
classics.
transported for someone who
Well, I
isn't.
was more into
But it's not just a
superheroes.
marketing technique like, hey, you like pixels?
Right.
Buy our game,
Oh,
right?
man,
So
we
it's
could
a little
go
more
on
sophisticated
forever.
than that. I feel bad talking
Then,
over the
We didn't go
dialogue,
there
but
anymore.
Yeah, I was trying to
No
decide
big deal.
how annoying that will be to try and listen.
yeah, well, this is the unique experience we're providing as opposed to just playing it yourself. Right?
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Where's that guy
These
who's
days,
gonna beat me
I
up?
guess
there?
I was just looking for anything that could make my heart skip a beat again.
Hmm.
And that was when I found it.
Magic cards. 1992.
And now I've been broke for the
Forever.
whole rest of my existence because I
Yeah.
found Magic the Gathering.
I found a telephone booth and I just smashed it for no reason, and I had no reason why. I found a pipe and I just hit this lady. I felt alive.
And I need to feel alive again. That sounds like serial killer talk, doesn't
I
it?
did it in
Factory
8
was
different
built long
places.
before I was born, but had been shut down and abandoned for as long as I could remember.
Mm.
Mom used to tell me to stay away from there. But there was something down that pitch black alley that caught my eye.
It's got a light on in there. Oh, we're back to the title screen.
Yeah.
This looks like Flynn's arcade, like that
It took all
Neutron,
the
which
guts
I really like.
had to go down the stairs. The basement air was thick with cigarette smoke and 10,000 volts of energy. And in the midst of this electric haze stood an army of high-tech creatures, their huge crystal clear screens flashing before my eyes.
Nick's predictive power.
I'd
Yep.
seen video games before. Dad even brought home one black and white model when I was really young.
Just have to say this guy in the foreground is playing the
This
game
is
you
something
played at the
else.
beginning.
Right?
Something you could not take home
Clever.
with you. And this place was definitely no hangout for children. In front of these machines stood some of the coolest, uncool people I had ever seen.
The coolest, uncool people.
There were
That's
the
probably
freaks,
that's about right.
geeks, the misfits, the outcasts, the real rebels. Part of something the outside world could not understand
Man, that vending machine makes
or
me
even knew
hungry.
existed. These guys were all playing trance-like, totally absorbed, as if they experienced something from another dimension. Maybe I could be one of them.
Ooh, do I get to play all the arcade machines in this room? Is that what this game is about? 'Cause that's what I want to do now.
Is it, would you be happy if I told you that this was a survey class of 80s style arcade games?
Yeah. I have my own game design just like that called Bazooka Cops, which is just like this, like Wario World style, like flurry of like retro game archetypes, like just sort of strung together, one after another every 10 seconds or so. All right, let's do this. Out of the void. I'm ready.
How would you, I mean, would it be worse if I told you they are a little simplified? Or would
Yeah.
that be okay for this premise.
Fun. Yeah, all right, let's do this.
Got some life force.
Yeah, I'm ready. I know how to play every one of these games. I mean, if I had a video call, as you know, I'm sitting in front of like a wall of about 200 NES cartridges, so...
Yep. I picked this game very specifically for you when I was thinking about if I flipped the script on Nick, what game do I own? And I was just looking through my list and I thought, that's the one.
Right, yeah. You know, these games are so great, these old school games. I've never been smoking before. Innovation. There's a distinct lack of power-ups, though. How do I buy an option? Oh, wait, there's one. Oh, that's just points. And that's actually what I was just going to say. There we go. Give me that. Shot. A lot of these old school games don't carry anywhere near as much weight like when younger players play them, and they don't realize like the whole point is to play for score, and the idea of playing for score is something that's so old school, but it's so essential. And you know, I've got a Neo Geo cabinet in my house too, and it's so crucial that it's not one of these like main cabinets that has like a million games in it. You have to have just like 2 or 3 games that you replay for score. That's like how these games are done, you know?
Yeah.
That's what makes them good. And that's like what I picked. Like when we did our thing, right? It's like the ultimate score
yeah
game. Oh, there's some asteroids here.
And that's where all the old the leaderboards, even the speedrunning boards, go back to people tracking scores.
Yeah, it's almost like developers have taken score out of games, you know, and players are. Oops. Well, how about I smash you with my face?
Yeah.
Because I'm hungry for the points. And players are putting it back in their own way. Ooh,
yeah.
Man.
Like, if you're not going to keep track of my score, then I have to
lay on the score up.
do it fastest. Oh, it started you. I didn't even. Right?
Yeah,
it
just basically warped me right to the boss.
Yeah, which is great. Also, that's a
Ooh, there we go.
quality of life thing, right?
Yeah, that's right.
I appreciate a good
boss
boss
run. What they should have
run.
done was boot me all the way back to the main menu, right? That's
Right.
That's the old school way.
I appreciate a good boss run, and that goes all the way back to the original Mario Brothers, right? You didn't beat Bowser, go back to the beginning, or at least the halfway point.
Yeah, and Mario Brothers has got a score. Has anybody ever played Mario Brothers for score? No, I'm just trying to like.
I think before speedrunning was a thing, there were leaderboards that mattered for score for Mario. Yeah. In the age of the classic speedrun cheaters from history.
Right. Man, I was watching a speedrun of. I think it was like the Super Nintendo Zelda. I wasn't really watching it, but I saw it was happening on Twitch, and because they do them all in emulators now, they toggle all these like glitches and stuff where it's interesting what people consider is like acceptable. You know, they're like triggering like graphical glitches by like scrambling the game, and then they can use a hook shot through somewhere where they're not supposed to use it or whatever.
Yeah.
That's still totally kosher, I guess. I don't know how they decide what's fair game.
Well, and so you've got your glitchless runs as well.
Right.
And so but then there's always somebody who has to decide how big a glitch does it have to be before it's not allowed in glitchless.
Pretty arbitrary. Somebody's got to be the judge of that.
Yeah.
I heard them mention the concept of no major glitches, right? I'm like,
yeah. So who decides?
Yeah.
And I mean, some of the speed runs, I think Super Mario World on the SNES might be one. It's less than a minute or whatever, because all you do is manipulate the RNG to create an overrun, and then the credits run. And the criteria is get to the credits.
Right.
So,
And that's like obviously not the spirit of the game.
And while I appreciate that there are people out there who appreciate that, and that's fine.
Right.
When I watch a speedrun, I'm never going to watch that option.
Right. I'm watching. God, I shouldn't even say I'm watching it, but there's a streamer I've been hanging out with, I guess, who's like our age, I guess, and he's doing these like he kind of invents these random parameters that he's going to play a game on. And right now he's doing Final Fantasy, the original one on the NES, but he's forcing himself to play it with only 5, whatever the fighter class is, like monks or whatever, or
Right.
like the hand ones. And he's like, I'm only going to use perfect stats. So every time I level up,
Oh,
if they don't get the perfect stat roll, I reset the game and level them up again.
I'm just gonna say oof to that because there's a game on the Super Nintendo called Seventh Saga. It's a role-playing game,
Okay, yeah.
and I was doing that in that game. Um,
Which game is this again? Because he's actually looking for more games to be a masochist about. So
Seventh Saga.
on
Yeah,
the
it has random level up stats, and it's one of the few games that was made more difficult for the U.S. release.
Interesting.
And how they did that was they just made it so your stats don't go up as much
Random.
when you
Right.
gain levels.
Yep. So he's got, and the amount he knows about the get, like, so when I level up between this and that and the other, then it's only possible to get these things, and I think I gotta get serious to get through this level because it's getting pretty tricky here. But
Yeah, and
anyway,
it did boot you back to the beginning too.
it did, yeah,
Yeah.
This game. So I've got a game called Blazing Star on the Neo Geo, and this feels very, very, very similar in a good way. It doesn't really have the finesse, but it could easily be like a version of it. It's clearly, I mean, the blueprints for all these games are pretty clear, right?
Yeah. I mean,
It's like you said, they are simplified versions of it.
and
But-
oh, go ahead. Oh. So the
Oh,
and I brought up Life Force because I know that you know that game because you're Nick.
yeah,
And we talked about it before, but
right.
for other people, I would have said Gradius.
Sure. Yeah, which are, pretty similar.
Yeah, in fact, isn't the first Gradius or Life Force was the same company, right? Is the Gradius
Oh yeah, they're
games?
both Konami, and
Yeah.
I'm not sure actually that they're not sequels in some way.
Right.
I think Life Force is called Salamander in Japan. I've got the poster for it.
Oh.
Oh, you're right.
Oof.
That beam was larger than I was expecting. Okay.
All right.
Oh,
2
so-
lives.
Ooh. Okay. Does your head hurt more than everything else? Because that's how I would make you die. Whoop. Seems to be a pretty safe spot up here.
Oh, yep. That debris hits you, doesn't it?
Yeah, it did. Oh,
Oof.
nice. Okay.
Things got a little more serious. That
Yeah.
starting game, that Streets of Rage clone, was easier than
Yeah,
the
I'll
rest of the
say.
games.
Well, these games were all hard back then.
Yeah.
You gotta get a quarter out of me somehow, right?
Yup.
I think this is the place to be unless he's actively shooting at me. Oh, snap. Good thing I'd gotten hit by that debris, actually.
Oh, you were
you
still in
die?
your iframes.
Yeah. Why
There
do
you
you
go.
have blood? And explode. And have a brain. This guy's got it all. Spared no expense on this robot.
You know what our robot needs is blood and a brain.
Yeah, well. Back to school. I see what they did there. Yeah, it's just like a tour.
Yeah.
This is almost, yeah, it's almost like a way to explain the
Wouldn't it be
80s.
fair to
in
say
some
I
way.
didn't do my best in school.
Yeah.
At least for a
I
while.
do believe these,
I
and I'm
worked
not
hard
asking you to
make it
test
work.
it, unless you want to, but I do believe these are
Now,
unskippable.
walking those hallways
Unskippable, yeah.
with
Well, I
all
have those
those
same high tops now.
I wasn't
Alright.
really there.
I've never owned
I was on an
high tops
asteroid
like
somewhere,
those.
No,
fighting
they're
space
all the way back
invaders.
around. They're like look like Jordans again, you know?
Huh.
I feel like this is kind of a TV version of the 80s too, right? Like,
Yeah.
does that person actually exist in the real 80s? Maybe they did. Maybe I didn't grow up close enough to LA or whatever, but
Southern District. She was the
Yeah, I mean,
wildest thing I've ever seen.
In the 80s, I was
Oh man, that girl was
10 at the oldest, so.
For
I don't know what high
Right.
schoolers look like.
Right, yeah. There goes Kit.
Free in a way.
Very 80s car.
Still only dream.
Mm-hmm. The legendary Camaro. Trans Am. Ooh, what are we playing now?
Oh,
Yeah,
come
I'm
on, you
ready.
can guess.
Is it gonna be Spy Hunter? Or Outrun.
Yep.
Let's do this.
And so, I did not play Outrun, but I played Top Gear.
Yep.
In fact, I played Top Gear 2 so much on one weekend that I bruised my thumb,
Right.
like underneath my thumbnail from pushing so hard.
Right.
And
Just having it like you're trying to get more.
Yeah. And I mean, word to the wise, pushing harder on a Super Nintendo button does not do anything.
Oh no, it's a secret analog. You gotta really do it.
Yeah. It's hard not to when you're trying to or when you're thinking, I need to go faster. You
Right.
just don't think about it. You start pushing harder.
This is this one is particularly stripped down.
Yes.
This is I would say this is actually more of a rad racer, which is essentially like the first time somebody really executed this concept. You know, just like you just go and stop. Like there's no power sliding that I can see. I can't seem to make it do anything.
Yeah.
The cars aren't shooting. It's a great Woody station wagon there, though. I like it. It is a good excuse to have quad exhaust, though, and those sweet things like they put in your rear window with like the slats like they'd have on those like muscle cars.
Yeah.
That's a cool period piece. It's definitely a sweet sports car.
I don't know the purpose of those slats other than to make your
think it's a
window.
sun visor type thing to like keep your. I think you get shade that way, but it doesn't really obscure your view. Oh, that's fun. I love this effect they're doing here.
Definitely makes your window incredibly hard to clean.
Right? Yeah. Get out of the way, Grandma. You're not gonna make me miss my checkpoint, are you?
I don't know if it's Grandma's fault.
Well, it's not like I got a turbo, and apparently I'm doing 200 miles an hour, and Grandma is doing about that also.
Well, those are
Oh.
kilometers,
All right, well,
which means
it's less impressive, I guess.
120, right? You're just topping out over 120 miles per hour.
Yeah, that's more reasonable.
Yeah.
Well, everything I know from playing all these games means that if you cross the previous checkpoint with only as much time to spare as I just had, we're gonna die. That's what I know. This is an incredible cave, though.
Yeah. I mean, I think the closest thing I've ever been into this was Seattle now has a along the waterfront.
Oh, I haven't done it yet.
It's pretty long.
We did one in Iceland that was freakishly long. All right. Yeah. So this better give me a motorcycle or something. No, really? Is there like another gear? This particular one feels lazy to me. Like this one,
Yeah. So
I'm like, you didn't do anything to make this fun. You just reminded me of Outlook. You know what I mean?
yeah, or Outrun, and
Outrun. Yeah.
I was similarly disappointed with this one, as I realized that it is just get quickly to the checkpoint multiple times.
Yeah, and it's the only game here. I mean, this is basically a Nintendo Game & Watch game at this point, right? Like, the only thing I have to do is dodge this traffic. That's the
Right.
only thing I'm doing. That's the only skill check.
Yeah,
Maybe
and some
I'm
of the
letting off
corners.
the pedal to be able to turn better so I don't get, like, centrifugal forced, but
I think some of the corners require you to slow down, right?
yeah, we'll see. I think if I stay in the
This one.
edge... Yeah, this one. That's like the hard part of the game.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
That's your big difficulty is seeing
it.
when there's a yellow turn sign indicating that this is a sharper corner than the rest.
You know, so back to our conversation about playing for score.
Right.
I over COVID, I took out for my kids to play because we had let somebody borrow a racing wheel, whatever it was. Anyway, I took out a Sega Saturn with Sega Rally, which is one of my favorite racing games. And every racing game is really just somebody making a decision of like drawing the dot between arcade and simulation, right?
Yeah.
And I just like where Sega Rally sits. But the big thing about Sega Rally is for a $50, thing that you would have paid for at the time, it's got 3 tracks. 3,
Oh.
and they're like 2 minutes long a piece. Like if you were already good at that game, you could play through all the content in literally 10 minutes, right?
Right.
But that's not what it's about. It's about perfect runs and getting the times. And that was the first time I was able to get my younger kids to really understand, because it was so obvious that it wasn't about like unlocking new cars. Like there's 2 cars, right? And they're already unlocked. That's not what this game's about. It's not about getting the new stages. There's 3 stages, and they're the difficulty settings also, by the way. So like, it's like, you want to play easy, this is the track, right? So the only thing to do was do it better than you did it last time, and that finally triggered with them, and they actually were able to appreciate the idea of like outperforming yourself,
Right.
which I think is a lost thing on a lot of games.
Yeah. Now, before I do a segue into another game, real quick, I want to point out the music when you get into this cave fades out.
Oh, like my radio doesn't pick it up anymore?
Or, no, that the old arcadey, like, rock music faded out,
Right.
and then you come out and it's nighttime in the city instead of daytime in the desert,
Right.
and
That
look at
was a
your
classic thing.
look at your time.
Right. It gave me a bunch.
Yeah, you exited the cave and it gave you a bunch. So it is a very stripped down game, and I think maybe their
Am I
purpose
driving
here
to the-
was for you to just zone.
Started hanging out in the arcade.
Yeah, they're gonna start talking.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
But they certainly also could have given you a good driving game.
I could have done that, I think, for one less checkpoint.
Yeah. So the game I wanted to bring up, speaking of, where on the line are you going to be between simulation and arcade, is the 8-bit Nintendo game Built to Win.
I don't think I've ever heard of that, which is unusual for an 8-bit Nintendo game.
Yeah, you're going to have to check that one out. It is Gran Turismo on the 8-bit Nintendo.
Really?
Yeah. Like buying cars, upgrading them, having a career in a racing circuit.
On the 8-bit NES.
Yes.
Built to Win. I'm gonna look. Do you know who the publisher is?
I don't, but I'm going to look it up while you...
I sort my NES games by publisher on the shelf. That's my. They've definitely had a shtick back then, like something you could expect from them to a degree.
Okay, so the publisher is Seta Corporation,
Oh, okay.
and the developer was Seta Corporation and Winky Soft.
Winky Soft.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like how they've done this cinematic thing. It's a little over the top. I'm gonna get a seizure warning here doing this.
Oh yeah, you are.
But I like how they've built this in. But this is not. This is cool.
Right, it's no longer even a racing game. You're just
Right. Yeah.
driving and zoning.
It better. I mean, like, I love that I'm doing this. But if they make me die and do it again, I'm gonna absolutely hate it.
Right. It's that singular experience.
Yep, and that's okay as long as it's done right. I
Yeah.
think it's fine. I didn't even mind losing. I'm already over losing on Outrun. 2 minutes ago or whatever it was. I think actually, if you didn't even fail to hit a checkpoint once, it would actually cheapen the experience.
Yeah.
It was about transformation. For every visit
And I'm going to be honest, I turned the volume down again a little bit to where her voice probably isn't coming through very well at all for the viewers,
Right.
which I did in part because I realized that's an important part of their experience of playing the game if they choose to play this game.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. Although it's also pretty heavy-handed. Like it's similar to the way this game is. Like as soon as she starts talking or they start talking, you're like, I get it. I get what you're trying. I get your point.
Yeah.
But then they say it for another 45 seconds. It's fine.
She
Again.
she has a or they, because again, like we said, it's hard,
Yeah.
it's unclear, but definitely has a what I'm saying is important and profound. I'm a teenager cadence.
Right. Yep. And yet we're talking about playing arcade games.
Yeah.
The skateboard.
Yeah, the old style. My first skateboard was that shape, right? The
Mhm.
non-symmetrical, and it had Snoopy on it.
Nice. Nothing says bad. Oh, they've got the GNR poster up there. Loving that. Did you catch that?
I didn't.
That's like literally Guns N' Roses. It's like just a pixelated Guns N' Roses poster.
Oh.
I can appreciate that.
I wasn't quick enough after you said it to spot it.
You'll just have to drive through Outrun one more time to see it.
Maybe. Or I could rewind this video.
Oh, you have superpowers. I dig all this pixel art. It's cool.
Yeah. I had a student a couple of years ago, and that's as much information as I'm going to give out about this person because it's a student, who did incredible pixel art on
It's
his
a real thing. It's tough.
iPad. And the first time I saw what he was working on, I thought he was modifying pre-existing pixel art.
Mm,
And then one time I saw him at the very beginning of one
right.
and realized he was doing them from scratch.
Back when we were kids, life was so much easier.
I wonder if I'm going to play a Game Boy
We could
game up
go
in this
from
thing.
bug collector in the morning to bank robber before bedtime.
Might be asking a bit much. The treehouse is very, very 80s. I wonder if the sign says no boys or no girls allowed.
Mm-hmm. Probably not this
Then came
person's
high
sign.
school, and everyone got brainwashed.
What is that thing?
People started
guess it's a
seeing you the way they
Cassette
wanted to
tape
see
player. An eraser?
you. Be the brain,
Maybe.
be the clown, be the
Well,
troublemaker,
So is
be popular.
it a cigarette pack? That seems unlikely.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think so. Or matches.
People would
Or,
define
I don't know.
you
It's got
in
a
the most
like a
convenient
kerosene
way.
lamp though.
Yeah. Oh, so it could be matches to light the
Then,
Yeah.
incredibly
That's who
dangerous
you are.
lamp.
Right. Which also next to a flashlight. So
Well, it depends. Are you in a soft light or a hard light mood?
right. Yeah. Well, there's some weird pixel strobing here happening that I'm watching. Like the way they've made these, the way they've done this
they
effect
say
is
that
kind of
when you grow
interesting.
up,
Oh,
something
yeah,
inside
with
you
the-
dies.
Yeah, the way they've like made it
Sections.
like they've kind of like
I'm still not sure if
It's
that's
working.
good or bad.
Yeah.
When you're a child, shadows seem darker and lights seem brighter. Everything is more terrifying.
I'm trying to remember what game comes next. You take a guess at it. What do you think that next clone's gonna be?
mm,
She's talking about light and darkness.
mm, mm. Well, looks like it just got Ninja-y.
Yep.
Ninja Gaiden's got the light and dark statues. This looks very shinobi right now. Or if there's any game I know how to play, it's one where you never stop running. Whoa. This is... I would say all these games are at like Neo Geo level of... Oh.
I will say, yeah, you want to collect the orbs.
Oh. Like collect by slashing them?
No, by just hitting them. Having your body cross over them.
Whoa.
I think this
Game
one took me more tries than the
I
others.
wonder what game exactly is this? Or is this a little more original? Like-
it feels like runners like this are more modern than
Yeah,
what
these
they're
like
going for.
speedrunners. Oh, those. Got it.
Yeah, because certainly implies in some ways Ninja Gaiden,
Well,
but
there's
it
no
doesn't
bird.
play like that at all.
mostly murdering me over and over again. Yeah, and I would say even more, it looks like Revenge of Shinobi on the Genesis, except this running game is not how that's played, you know?
Right. So, they've managed to baffle a couple of retro gamers as to which game exactly they were going for on this one.
I think this is the one when you're when Chrome doesn't get internet and you're that dinosaur. Except there's a lot more blood.
Oh, maybe
I gotta
those orbs
say,
don't
I'm
do anything.
particularly vulnerable to those spikes on the ground. They get me with those. I think that's like 100% of my death. I like the jump. I like how sudden it is.
Yeah. I was about to say you can go back down through the platform, but you figured it out.
This game's pretty fun.
And it, yeah, I think
Oh,
I'd rather be playing a game like Ninja Gaiden, but
I love Ninja Gaiden. It's so brutal though when they start sending you back to. I have a super bar.
yeah, you do. I was just noticing it. Oh, I was just noticing it was
Had
full.
a super bar.
That's what collecting the orbs does.
Ah, okay.
Fills that up.
Meow.
And I don't. Probably you hit both buttons to activate it. That's my guess. 'Cause
You know
this
what
is-
else this reminds me of with the sword is Strider.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Specifically the Genesis one. The NES one was like an adventure game, but
My initial exposure to the Strider character was Marvel vs. Capcom.
oh, that's such a great game. Oh man, this level got hard. It's fine. Ooh, dang.
Oh,
All right. Gonna make me actually play this time, huh?
it is. Yeah, we went from that
Decide how much I.
gentle driving game to
Right.
a much more aggressive experience.
Don't make me figure out how to use my super lady. I'll do it. Oops. Oh, really? I jumped into it. It juked me. I was like, oh, I guess I should hang back. Seem to be a penalty for that yet. Oh, other than just walking into that thing.
Yeah, I do believe I ended up playing this game mostly from the left side.
Yeah. Whoops. Oh. It's quite fast.
It is
You might even have to memorize something like this.
almost like a Battletoads stage.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's definitely the archetype I'm getting right now. It's like once you strip away the ninja thing, it's definitely
The
Yeah, more
motorcycle
Battletoads-y.
level, right? Is that right?
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one with those little air bikes or whatever. That's such a treacherous.
Yeah.
I saw somebody posting a 2020 meme. And they're like, 2020 is that level in Battletoads with like with the air bikes. And then you're
Yeah.
like, finally, it's over. And then the next level's like worse.
Well, so the problem with that level, to get it a little bit into game design, is for a long time it telegraphs to you. There's something on the screen that tells you when
Right.
dangers are coming up. But partway through, it just
you can't
gets
jump over
rid of
that.
that.
Right.
And you just have to memorize the
Right.
back half or third or whatever of that level.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
The part that makes it rough is the limited lives, right? Because you've got to practice it, you've got to learn it, but you got to play the rest of the game so many times to get there.
Yeah.
And it's not even guaranteed that you are going to get there.
Yep.
All right, I'm going to try to not screw this up.
But that's also goes back to the Nintendo hard thing. Are you familiar with that term?
No.
Okay. And I know Battletoads isn't an 8-bit Nintendo game, and mostly people are referring to the 8-bit Nintendo era, but the idea that the games were harder back then
Right.
because it extends your experience.
Right.
Was it 8-bit? Not Super?
Yeah, it's 8-bit. No,
Oh,
it's 8-bit.
Super
they had it on
Battletoads.
Super also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So it does apply specifically to that game, but it extends your experience when it's so difficult and you have limited lives that you don't just play through the game. You
Right.
play through the game part way, and then a little
Right.
farther and a little farther. And this game, thankfully, doesn't do that. At no point do you go back and get off the subway again. Each individual game within will make you repeat
Sure.
portions.
Oh, we're gonna fight that creepy thing in the background now.
And
Ooh,
that
this
is,
Battlefield 2, right? There's a down level,
yeah,
which is hard. Battlefield's just a hard game.
yeah.
Where are these guys coming from? It's like just they're all wet, getting like washed over the
Well, why are they falling faster than you?
right because they're optimized their position. You know, like skydivers.
Yeah.
It's the sword down is all these piranhas. They're jumping really high.
Or are they coming out of the waterfall?
We'll never know because I'm gonna slice them up.
Yeah.
I need a phone booth right now. I could just slice up.
Can you not turn around either when you just back up? Oh, that's
It's my
weird.
only sprite. Yeah. Nope.
Nope.
Of all the tricks to get me with. I know,
Yeah.
guys.
So that
Enough of these ninjas. Let's just dig a hole.
that thing that appeared in the background on that
Yeah.
first stage, or not first stage, but the bamboo stage,
Yeah.
very much reminiscent of, and I know it's because it's an archetype from like Japanese mythology,
Right.
but very reminiscent of one of the. I had it in my head and then
Spirited Away.
yeah.
Yeah.
What studio is that? Ghibli or
Yep.
Ghibli? Is it Ghibli?
Djibouti. Yeah, I've always thought that was a weird thing to call your studio when your language doesn't have an L.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, dang it! How am I supposed to jump over that?
Yeah, you're not allowed to jump when you're on that top level.
Oops. These are interesting dudes, the ones that make you wait and then.
So what I'm thinking is,
Oh.
I kind of want to see if you can finish this
Okay.
game within the game. But if you decide you've had enough, you can say so.
No, it's oh my god. No. This particular one I have more resilience for because it's more in my personal wheelhouse of like what I'm willing to play.
Gotcha.
And
We
the
still
game's
haven't
just good enough where I feel like it's a challenge and I'm not that it's not challenging, but just that it's a challenge that I can actually get better at.
Right. Oh, you lost your super when you got hit.
Well, I haven't figured out how to use it anyway, so
Yeah, I was gonna say we still haven't seen it, and then you got
Yeah.
hit, so I didn't bring it up because I didn't want to rub salt in the wound.
it's a it's a 2-button. Oh god, it
It's-
really creeps up. I really gotta focus.
It's got to be just hitting both buttons at the same time, right?
Well, that's what you would think. Or it's holding it down, maybe? Maybe that's what it is.
I
It's
love.
an interesting choice as a developer. They would have to, because it's 2 buttons, and none of these games are like how to play, right? They're not
Right.
teaching you how to play, so they've got to be like immediately obvious. And
Mhm.
I think that's interesting because a lot of games back then, there was actually a lot of the variance was just in how the game was played. I know, like the difference between like Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat was like really different. The way you would use literally the same buttons.
Yeah.
Oh, dang. I will say these levels are feeling random to me. Like I know they're the same, but I'm not getting a vibe of like, okay, I'm at this part, I'm at this part. So like it's tough for me to. Maybe I just haven't played it enough, but the background is just too repetitive. It's not changing at all.
Yeah.
So I'm
Well-
having a hard time learning the level because it's feeling starting to. I guess it's starting to.
Yeah. I was happy to see earlier that when the guys who throw the shuriken backwards at you,
Right.
when the one appeared, you jumped to the level above him and waited, and then got down.
Right.
But then
Right.
on the next one, you immediately jumped up and got hit by a shuriken.
Right. As one does.
Yep. Kind
It's
of
a
like,
bit of a tongue twister, this game, with the different dudes that they're giving you.
Mhm.
I like the slide. That's fun.
yeah. And
Very Strider also.
does it end, or
Oops.
can you just do it indefinitely?
I certainly die indefinitely.
Oh,
Yep, I can slide forever into a pit.
nice.
Smart. Strider's got the long cape too, but this so does Shinobi in the later ones. That jump is actually so big that you can't jump it unless you also move your guy forward in the air.
Ah,
Like you have to do that. So that's like you have to press forward and jump, otherwise you don't make it.
huh.
The slicey thing is pretty satisfying.
Yeah.
Oops. And the instant vertical jump is pretty good,
Yeah, because I thought for sure you didn't make it over that boulder,
right?
and then you were immediately out of the way when you hit the button. This is the best one to watch so
Yeah,
far.
for sure. It's the best one to play too. Just gonna fall in a goddamn hole though. Which may actually be the true callback to the 80s, is perfecting a level like this and then falling in a hole.
Yeah.
So I don't know where the next like checkpoint is here.
Yeah, hopefully soon.
But I'm feeling stressed, like don't fall in a hole, don't fall in a hole, because I know how quickly it can happen. Also, don't die.
Yeah, my anxiety's a little bit up because you're so close to dead.
Oh,
Oh!
God, seriously,
I bet you can slide under their shuriken.
oh, that's probably true. Oh, yeah, this is the beginning. Man,
That
that's a
is
long
too
level.
bad.
All right, well that's the true. This is the true 80s experience, though.
Yeah.
Except that I'm not out of quarters and it's not time to go, or it's not my friend's turn or something like
Right.
that.
Oh, there was an arcade in, well, not in the town I live in, but across the river, and it was pay to get in, and then all the machines were free.
Oh, those are instant death. Brutal. Yeah, that's cool. You know, I went to the Pinball like Hall of Fame or museum in Las Vegas, and I think it's the same way. And that's an amazing place, by the way.
Yeah. Well, when it's safe to travel again.
Yeah, like eventually.
Yeah. Well, but at this arcade, my friends and I, maybe 3 times in my time in middle school and high school, we walked across the bridge over to the city on the other side, and got there when they opened the doors, paid to get in, and
Right.
left when they closed in the evening. Spent our whole
That's
day
cool.
just starving to death in this
Right.
arcade.
I'm surprised they didn't sell food.
Yeah, they probably should have. I think, though, their goal was more to get you to leave so that they could have more room, but I never once saw it look like they cared about capacity in any way.
Right. God, I've got a feeling of hopelessness now. I'm down to like 1 hit point already, and I'm not even.
Yeah,
This is rough.
it is. And that's maybe the second farthest you've made it. Was that the string of boulders that is like 7 boulders long?
Yeah, I think so. It only took 1, but yeah, it might have been.
The orbs also frequently indicate where safety is.
Yeah, but they're also. I find sometimes they're putting me at risk to like move around more. You really gotta kind of zone out and play this like a side-scrolling shooter and be like, just look directly in front of you and press the button.
Which I make more difficult by talking to you about what you're doing.
Yeah, that's fair. That's definitely true, but it's not like I wouldn't want you to be quiet just for that. Oh, really?
Oh, man.
I could have sworn I was gonna get that guy.
I'm not sure it's
Oh,
possible.
no way!
I don't-
think it's possible.
Yeah.
I was totally wrecking that guy. All right. Oh, fine. I want a different animation for getting. I get sliced in half by a boulder. It's crazy.
Well, the thing you're not understanding, because you're seeing it from one side, is those aren't actually boulders. Those are very
Saw blades of
thin
stone?
slices of rock, yeah.
No, okay. Well, that all makes sense now. All right, I'll let these guys throw their ninja thing.
I'm going to call that 3-dimensional elitism, in fact, on your part.
Well, they shouldn't have shaded it that way then.
I'm not sure I can picture how they'd have to shade it differently to make me believe it was a disc.
It would be flat. There wouldn't be any shading across. There wouldn't seem like it had a bottom, you know?
Okay.
It'd look like a wheel.
Oh, everything's... well, maybe not everything, but...
Oh,
Oh, you got
I
that one. Nice. The boulders look like they're lit from below, which is weird.
Right, well, the lighting rolls around with them, which is pretty funny. So.
They're not on screen for very long, so I didn't catch that.
So many ninjas had to die. This is giving me like almost like Cuphead vibes at this point, where it's just like, do it again, like you never run out of lives, and it's just smashing your face.
I like Cuphead. I have not finished Cuphead.
No, same here. Oh god. Now we're at the end of like Mega Man 2's Heat Man stage, and it's just like, just don't die in the lava.
Oh yeah, you've got more life than you've ever had at this point.
Have a good time to run into some spikes or fall in a hole.
Yeah, the hole, because that'll end it no matter how much life you have.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
There's a checkpoint.
Oh my god.
Maybe we could see your super.
I should do it when there's nobody on the screen, right?
Yeah, that'd be the perfect use of it. You saved it up for that whole stage.
Well, here comes the thing that wants the money again. I think actually I think it's actually more like a Zelda sword thing. Like, look how awesome my sword is when I'm full. See, now it's weaker.
Oh yeah, you do more damage. Okay.
Yeah. Look, buddy, I don't know if you know this about me, but I'm like Derek Zoolander here. Like, I'm not an ambi-turner. I can't hit you from there. Like, what do you want me to do about this?
I do not remember this.
You're on the wrong side, bro. This is a side scroller, and you are on. I am on. It's very unfortunate.
He must trade sides with you at some point.
You would think, and yet, all right. Well, we'll just not die for a while, and then. All right, lightning. Okay, did not get spanked. Did not get spanked. Okay, and then...
I think it's top and bottom after this
We're
one.
in middle now, right? Oh, top and bottom, that's what you meant.
Yeah, I was saying what he was going to hit. Yeah.
No?
There he goes. Maybe now he's going to come around.
Yeah. See his weird, creepy body. Oh, now they're putting enemies in. I almost didn't even see that because I was watching the thing.
Yeah, so...
Oh, the spikes and everything.
He realized,
Oh,
hey, I'm invincible back here and I could just do this forever and
Right.
eventually I'd win. So
Seems
I'd
like-
probably better mix it up.
Whoa.
Ooh,
William Shatner.
that's aggressive.
Just like to say I've expertly...
You're doing a very impressive job so far.
Oh. Well, you know, if he would let me hit him, that'd be a lot easier. Or possible.
Yeah, we're possible. So you're watching him during that part, right?
Oh, I guess that's how that ends.
Because he does telegraph.
Yeah, he does. He does a little bit. Yeah.
All right, so I think that's where we should end
That
this.
seems like a good spot. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna mute this so that we can talk over it for a little
Sure.
bit and just let it run. So, I mean, we talked a lot about what you think already, but I guess the question is, do you think you're gonna finish that?
Yeah, I guess I might. I might finish this because, well, and only with the knowledge of like what you said that it's going to be relatively short, and I think it's kind of telegraphing that it's pretty short. Also, you know.
Yeah.
It's interesting. The whole game is interesting because it's like somebody's trying to they're trying to make the 80s. They're just aggrandizing the 80s and growing up in that time, which I obviously resonates with me, right?
Right.
But as I've I don't know, every generation I've listened to or listening to my own kids, like they all have these same feelings about the same things that they're growing up with. And I think it's just that I don't know. I think this is just our medium, but I don't know.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I don't know that this stuff is truly as important as we think it is even in our old age.
Yeah. I mean, I don't. I think so. I don't think it's a matter of importance so much as it's like Al Bundy always talking about the 3 touchdowns in one football game, right? Like it feels good to remember a
Right.
good time,
Yeah.
and so this presents you with not just ostensibly a fun experience in and of itself, but also
Right.
for guys like us our age, also the oh yeah, I remember
Right.
that, and that was
Yep.
fun. So I don't know if it has to have anything to do with importance so much as just it feels good sometimes to remember good times.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Um, so I can't remember if there's another game in between the one you just played and the last game, but I think you're about to start the last game.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so you may actually
That was really quite short then.
be close to done already. Um, if this is oh yep yeah this is I'm pretty sure this is the last game. So let's end it so that you can decide if you're gonna finish this game possibly today, possibly right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You want me to keep playing?
Um. Well,
Or you not quite.
no, we
Do this
shouldn't.
later. Okay.
Yeah,
I like how it's like text driven. It's pretty sweet though.
yeah. I would like
Yeah.
for us not to spoil the
We'll leave it.
very
We'll leave
last
it.
part
It
of
looks
this
good
game.
though. I dig the chip tune on it right now. It's pretty cool too.
Oh, so I'll turn that up a little bit after we say our or do our last piece.
Sure.
Um, so you want to promote something?
No, I think I'm good. I
Oh,
have
all
nothing to
right.
promote.
Do,
You
do I have
promote
to?
your own stream. It's been fun. It's been fun hanging out here. It's good to hang out with people and play games.
Yeah, that is something I miss. Do you care that your name, every time I've moved the mouse to adjust the volume, has appeared your stream name from
I
Twitch?
don't think so. I think
Okay.
that's fine.
All right.
Yeah.
That's good then. All right. So I have a podcast. It's SCP Real to Real, and I have a website, ffodpod.com, and you can support this show or the podcast. You can check it all out. I'm also on Twitch and Twitter at Semiazai, and I think that's as long as it needs to be. I'm not going to ramble like last time. So,
Nice.
yeah.
Well, thanks for having me on to play this. This was fun.
Yeah,
It's not something I would have done today, but I'm glad I did it.
thanks for giving it a shot, and I'm just
Yeah.
gonna give it 10 seconds here of this. Yeah, this is pretty good. Yeah.
I don't want to go play Streets of Rage 2 though. I really need to call in for backup with a big thing to come in and go like shoot like the bazooka from off screen,
I
That's what that would- that's
I
what
don't
need.
remember that.
Oh man, you got like a super where like you can only call. Everybody had their own thing. Like you'd call in and it would scroll way off to the left, like way off the screen, and a police car would show up, and then like someone would lean out the police car, and based on which character you were, they would shoot a different like long range bomb, and then it would scroll way back to where you were, which was kind of like frozen, and then the bomb would land and like blow up all the bad guys. That was cool.
I do vaguely remember that now.